Welcome everyone to another video. My name is Haggart, aka Hags, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my full criteria I am looking for when going out there and hunting for that property investment. And especially through the current climate we are in right now, we have to adjust to get what we want. Let's get straight into it with the purchase price. And the figure you see right next to the property you are somewhat after, I always, especially now, maybe not last year when things were going crazy, but especially now, I'm looking for a minimum of £15,000 below that asking value, and upwards of £25,000 or so. Of course, the further I can get it down, the better. And the reason being is because we don't know where the market's going. No one knows where the market's going. Everyone can throw their own opinions out there. I can give you my full opinion, but it doesn't change the fact that no one actually knows what's going to happen. That is exactly what I'm looking for, just so there's a nice cushion in case the market wants to keep plateauing down slightly. So moving on to my next criteria, and that is a complete full interior refurb. At the end of the day, the more refurb you do to a property, the more you can raise the value of it. And that means getting that cushion in, like I've just said in my first criteria, then adding the value as much as possible, and of course the more the better. That means you're able to drive that value up as much as possible, whether you're flipping a property, renting it out, or even looking to refinance it after you've done the works. Whatever that strategy is, you have that cushion and you have that drive of adding that value. And what I mean by a full refurbishment is things like the kitchen, bathroom, flooring, electrics, heating. Practically, if it's inhabitable, that is what you're looking for, because like I've said, it's a buyer's market. So the properties that need a lot of work doing to them tend to sit on the market just that bit longer than something that's done up, purely because people tend to just move for more or less the sake of it at the minute, especially with where the interest rates are and etc. If you have a garage to the side, extend into that. If you could do an extension at the back, why not? This all comes down to your costs, and like I've said, the price that you bought the property at. So moving on now to auctions. I've always loved auctions. I'd say majority of my properties are through auctions. I have bought enough to say that I haven't bought through auction. And the reason why I mention auction is because everyone who is listing a property on auction tends to be more desperate than anyone selling a property through an agent. So especially in a time like this where it's a buyer's market and it's going to auction, you just put two and two together and you can imagine that 10% guide price that auction companies give you becomes non-existent anymore. And auction prices tend to be listed for a good price. That's why they say the 10% guide. So if you can get it for around that price, a bit lower, even £10,000 mark lower, you got yourself a great deal. But the reception on buying a property listed through a normal sale, through just a standard estate agent, again, comes down to pricing, but also comes down to the style of property, where it is, and etc. There's a lot, again, that you need to think about and just be that bit more pickier. And then swiftly moving on to location. You can't beat location. I mean, when it comes to buying a property investment, I have broadened my search for areas just so I know that I will find something and not have to wait years on end just because I want in that very specific location. I have a couple of areas that I specifically look at and target, and for me, I've done every research you can think of, from the recent sales of the properties around the area, type of demographic, who I'm targeting for these properties, schools, hospitals, you name it. And if you're flipping a property, you really need to make sure this is 280, because who you're targeting and the demographic is huge. Because you really need to know the style of property you're going for the type of refurb you need to do to it. And of course, I guess same applies to renting as well. I guess you won't need to do as much intense search as you would with flipping. But again, it's an investment. You still want to have the criteria to a T. And last but not least, for me, a house and a house only. Yes, I bought a bungalow, but also a singular freehold house / bungalow, if you want to throw it in there, because I've done one previously. But it has to be a freehold, it has to be a house. For me, no exceptions other than that. The only exception is if a house has a leasehold on it and you can purchase that lease to turn it into a freehold. Of course, there's a lot of costs involved in that. But again, this is where the bargains come in. So that's the only exception I have with that. If not, for me, it's a no-go. If you invest in flats, etc., leaseholds, by all means, if it's working for you, go ahead. But for me, freehold houses / bungalows only. But that is my criteria that I'm looking for at the current minute. Of course, if the market changes and it becomes a seller's market, be less picky, but also still meet most of the criteria. But for now, be picky, get those deals, and use that criteria to your advantage. Now, I've been Haggle, aka Hags. Don't forget the name, and I'll catch you in the next video.